I'm excited. We're in China. Chinese in China. My name is Isabella Dixon. Oh, yes, at the intersection. I was born here in China in 1998. China's one-child policy was in full force. I was left on a busy street corner at 2 months old, and an American couple adopted me in 1999. I was 15 months old and in a foster home for a year. This is my first trip back.
Oh, stop. Stop.
I was invited by a group of med students and a doctor from Singapore to volunteer here at Alenah's home. A foster home in Beijing founded by Children's Hope International. It serves mentally and physically disabled children. As a college pre-med student, it is my dream to one day be a doctor. I know that I was in a foster home, probably similar to this one. It's difficult to imagine yourself in that situation when you are personally so far removed from it. There's been so many years, there's no memories of it.
Come on. You gotta eat.
In a way, it's a way of giving back when they volunteer in homes like these to just bless China, really, and to give back something to the country that they were born in.
Dr. Po Lian Lim is a graduate of Harvard and went to medical school at Columbia. She is now a professor at a medical school in Singapore. Dr. Lim has 2 adopted children from China, including her youngest, adopted from Alenah's home.
They are Chinese, they're Chinese American, and it just allows them to reconnect with a part of who they are, as well as a part of their heritage. It's like finding a missing piece of yourself.
You know, I think a lot of people think that adopted kids have this missing piece because they don't have their birth parents. They don't know if they have any siblings out there. They don't know if they were loved. They have this pretty much blank spot in the early beginning parts of their life. I don't really see it that way. I don't feel like a part of me is missing. I know my story. You know, obviously there are some very, obvious questions in it, but just because that there's questions in a story doesn't mean that it's not complete. Had I stayed in the situation I was, and there wasn't, the one-child policy, and had I been able to stay with my birth parents, I wouldn't be living the full life that I am now, and I wouldn't be using all my potential to its fullest.
I really thought Isabella coming back here to China, that she would look into the eyes of these children and she would see a bit of herself.
That's my mom, Dawn Dixon. She came along with me on the trip. My mom's a big optimist, and I think she initially thought that I would come here to China and find some amazing light bulb that would just, light up in my head and everything would be so happy and life would be solved.
She looks at them and she says, "Mom, did I do that? Did I look like that little girl?"
I don't have a flat head, so I know I was picked up. I think I was a cute baby, and everyone likes the cute ones. She likes to store food in her cheeks when she eats as a snack for later. Oh, hi! Which is something that I used to do. I liked to also store food in my cheeks. She's also quite demanding, like me. And she likes the red Audi. I had a Barbie Jeep. Hello! Hello! Do we have fun in the car? Her and I share the traits of being a food store, which I guess is something that they do because, you know, you don't get to eat whenever you want here. So, you know, if you want a snack later, it's nice and easy to store it in your cheeks until later. Many of these kids are struggling with an illness or a physical disability. I know what it is like to be sick. In 2017, I was diagnosed with cancer. Today, I am cancer-free. Some of the kids pointed to my scar, and I could tell that they were kind of asking what was wrong or why was it there. I know what it's like to have surgery, and I know what it's like to have to be poked and prodded by a doctor and have to get stuck by 1,000 needles. I can relate to them on that level in the fact that we've been through relatively similar stuff, you know? I think it is so important for girls like me to come back to China, not because they are missing a part of themselves here, but to maybe explore that part of themselves. It's important to see the country that you were born in and see the area they're born in, the people for once to, you know, look like everyone else, which is such a strange thing to think of. I grew up in a very predominantly white neighborhood and area. It was really cool to be able to finally come here and see other people that look like me. And we were on the subway in Beijing, and I kind of was looking up and down the subway, and I kind of turned to my mom and I was like, oh my gosh, like everyone has my nose, the Asian no bridge nose. And I think it's cool because for the first time, she feels what it's like to look and to be different. Hi! I'm on the Great Wall. My whole life, I've kind of, you know, wanted to go and see the Great Wall and go and see all the major touristy sightseeing spots in China, and being able to finally do them has been amazing. I've seen that video lots of times, my parents saying they'll always bring me back, and now I'm back. I brought my mom along.
You did it. Pretty awesome.
Let's start out positive, yeah? So, positives. I don't have to sightsee alone because that's kind of depressing. It's nice having, you know, a parent figure there helping you through. Negatives. Let me start. Here's the list. Though I love my mom, she can be demanding. And she thinks she can speak Chinese even though it's so off.
Ni hao. Ni hao. Look at those teeth.
There are so many reasons to come back to China, but the biggest reason is you can give these children at Alenah's home a sense of empathy no one else can, and they will give it right back. It's important because you can relate to these kids on a level that no one else really can, because you know what it's like to be abandoned, whether it be on a road or in front of a hospital or in front of an orphanage. When you look at these kids, you do see some sort of reflection of yourself, or at some point in the past, that was you.
Alenah's home is a beautiful place for these young girls that have been adopted from China to come back and to volunteer and to figure out what their purpose is in life. Whether or not Isabella realizes there's a missing piece, or even if there is a missing piece, this was an important trip. This was a first step in that process of figuring out who she is and what God wants from her. And I'm just so excited to see the rest of the journey.